My name's Scott Horn, and I live in Palm Beach County, Florida.
Full-time, Scott, or you just
Uh, Part-time, I'm 6 months down in Florida, and part-time in Pennsylvania, Western Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh.
okay? And what type of Mercedes do you have?
I have three Mercedes Benz automobiles. My very first car was a 1992 190E 2.6 that I've continuously kept. And then I acquired a 1970 280SL, and this third car was a 1988 560SL.
Okay. Why these particular models?
Um, I always liked the convertibles. My father had a 1974 brand new 450SL, and when I turned 16, um, that's what I learned to drive on. And I just loved that car. It was like no other car on the road at the time in terms of handling and the design and the styling. It was just a wonderful, wonderful sports car for a 16-year-old to be driving.
And you had mentioned earlier that prior to that Mercedes that your father owned, there was another one that you remember your uncle or aunt
Yeah.
had.
Oh, yeah. When I
Tell us a
was
little bit more about that, please.
when I was a small boy, um, I remember seeing my very first Mercedes Benz, and I didn't know what it was at the time, really much about the marquee, but the car was a beautiful black 1964 220 SEB with a lipstick red interior, and that car was just so impressive to a 7 or 8 year old boy. Um, it just with the double stacked headlights and that big grille. I mean, that car made a statement.
Okay. Now you mentioned earlier that there was an experience you had with a car that you had rented on a convention trip in Hawaii. Could you
Yeah,
tell us a little more about that?
yeah. I always lusted after the Mercedes Marquis, and they were always so expensive. And when I was young, it was just almost an impossibility to be able to afford one of those sedans or even the sports car. Just very pricey. And so Mercedes came out with a less expensive car, which was the 190 series, the 201 um, body. And I just really loved those cars. They were a miniature uh, copy of those big expensive sedans. So I had the chance to go to a convention in Hawaii, probably back late 80s or so, maybe about 1990. And at the time, budget rental car had some exotics that you could rent. And I happened to see that they had a Mercedes Benz for rent, which was the 190E series. So I wanted to drive around the island for a day and investigate and sort of tour Hawaii, Oahu. And so I decided I would spend the money, which was kind of expensive at that time. It was $75 for the day to rent that car. But I thought it was well worth it because I really learned to love that car that day. I just was thrilled to be on that island, beautiful island with a beautiful car, driving around and getting to see the sights.
And then you told me you now own that particular model, the 190E.
I did. After having spent a day with that car, I really, really badly wanted to drive one of those and own one of those. So I kept a lookout for one and happened to find the exact color combination that I wanted, all black. And that was the car that I drove that day. It was all black with black interior, and I wanted that exact same model and color. And so purchased one brand new in 1992, and it's all black, black interior, black exterior.
And where's that car now?
I still own that car today. Um, I can't bear to part with it, I don't think ever. Um, I have taken that on trips twice, clear across the country to California and back. And early on when I bought it, when it had lower mileage on it, maybe 60,000, I took a trip in back in the would be about 2002. I went clear across the country for about 5 or 6 weeks and just made a big loop all the way from Pennsylvania to California and back. And then the second time, I took that car when it had about 240,000 miles on it and did another 5 or 6 week touring trip with the car. And so many people said, oh, I wouldn't go that far with that many miles on it, but I kept the car pretty well maintained, so I was pretty secure in the knowledge I don't think that had a chance of breaking down on me. So today the car has 292,000 miles on it, almost 300,000 miles, and the car has only broken down on me twice in all that time. And it's been a $4 plastic part that Mercedes Benz used to attach the accelerator cable to the accelerator pedal, and you have to be preemptive with that car and remember to change that after a certain period of time, and I kind of had forgotten about it. So luckily the second time I was on a street in West Palm Beach and it snapped. I was going down the street and I thought, oh no, what am I going to do, and all that traffic. And luckily there was a side street that I could turn to the right. There was enough momentum in the car that I just turned down the side street, made a U-turn, and there was a parking spot on the opposite side, and put the car there until the tow truck could come and take me to the garage.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience with us today, and happy Mercedes-Benz driving.
Thank you.